Hi guys out there, Facebook world, YouTube, Twitter, and did I say them all? I did. Jay Cherry here. So I have a show planned for you guys today about some, of the things going on in the world. And I have this really interesting video I want to kick it off with, and a story about a man who was arrested recently for not wearing a mask, and I'm going to share that story with you guys. But first I wanted to share this really interesting video. So let me pull this up. I got it all queued up for you. This is CNN's rocking New Year's Eve party. You guys can't make this stuff up. So I wanted to play you this little video here. And this is, like I said, this is CNN's rocking New Year's Eve party. And before I get that started, I just wanted to say a couple of things. I always forget to mention this. So you can visit my website at jaycherrypresents.com. I am being censored. I had a video pulled off of YouTube a couple of days ago. I shared a video of a nurse who had a side effect. I don't even want to talk too much about it because I'm probably going to get flagged. But anyway, the side effect from the COVID biologic, I'm kind of trying to use code words here. So the biologic is the shot, basically. That's what shots are called, biologics. Even though that word could probably get me flagged. So anyway, this nurse I had done a video and had a very serious side effect that's listed in a package insert, and I'll get into that a little bit later in the show, but that got me put in Twitter jail. They made me take it off. I'm now back on Twitter. I had to remove the tweet, which I was really aggravated about and didn't want to, but for now I'll play the Techno Giants game. And I direct you guys to my website. I do have an email list there that you guys could subscribe to. It's got a little bit of tweaks and bumps in it, and I'm working on getting a server so that I can put together a more substantive email list that we can stay in touch with, and also a place where I can put my content without being censored, so that way you would access the content from an email list instead of all this social media that's getting very difficult to speak about sensitive subjects that we should be able to talk about, because that is free speech, right? So free speech doesn't mean that it's what the government agrees with or what the corporate media agrees with. Free speech is beyond that. I just want to clarify that there is a difference between free speech and harassment, because there's been some convoluted stuff about that. But that's not what this show is about. What I'm doing isn't about harassing or spreading false information. I spend a lot of time looking for this information, reading about it, and researching. And if anybody ever finds anything that I've ever said or posted that is not factual, please reach out to me. I will retract anything that is proven to be wrong. Right now, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are deciding what people can and cannot see, what people can and cannot say. So I've been censored on Twitter yesterday and had a video taken down talking about the new Rona biologic. So that's how I'll say it, because this video will probably get flagged too. But I want to share this video, so I'm going to go take you guys back to this. This is the world of surreal. Guys, check this out. This is CNN. You can't make this stuff up, man. You just can't do it. So I'm going to click on that. There we go.
2020's in the rear view mirror,
and things are looking clearer.
With a little luck, 2021 might not suck.
Might not suck.
No more cutting your own hair now.
The vaccine's on its way,
And it's coming any day.
and if things don't run amok, 2021 might not suck. Might not suck.
Okay. Did you guys just see that? I mean, did you just get a load of this video? So this video is in my show notes. This video is in my show notes. Thank you so much, Jess. I can pull comments up now. I'm gonna pull Jess's comment up. Gross is what I say, right? This is crazy, crazy, crazy. So that was CNN. Take you back over to that. Check this out. Just look at this. This is their website for their rocking New Year's Eve. Notice how they put this little video together. Nobody's wearing a mask. I'm going to play it again real quick for anybody that just popped in. Just because you can't make this stuff up. This is just crazy. Here we go. I'm gonna play it again for your entertainment. Check it out. Nobody's wearing a mask. They just did this, and listen to what they're saying. How this is gonna be a great year because of what?
2020's in the rear view mirror, and things are looking clearer with a little luck. 2021 might not suck, might not suck. No more cutting your own hair now. Vaccine's on its way, and it's coming any day. And if things don't run amok, 2021 might not suck, might not suck.
That's bizarre. I mean, like, that is so bizarre. Yeah. Welcome. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Welcome to communism. Let me just add a little bit to that. This isn't your old school communism, as if that isn't bad enough. This is technocratic communism. Patrick Wood does a really interesting discussion about that, and he's written a couple of books about technocracy and talking about communism. So it's really interesting. This is like your hyper version of communism. This is the bio security state. This is where every virus that comes around from this day forward is a major threat to your life and to your health and to your well-being. This is the biosecurity state that they are creating for us. And another reason why the censorship is getting really intense and hard, and I've been having videos censored, posts censored. I'm just going to keep going as long as I can, and in the meantime building a server and want to stay directly in touch with people. Again, my website is jcherrypresents.com, where you can find me and sign up for my email list. I'm going to be changing that email list server to something more secure and better, because people have been telling me they've been having trouble with getting signed up for the email list. I don't trust any of the major big techs, so I really want to be able to do a lot of this stuff on my own and start to reinvent how we're going to continue with J Cherry Presents Incorporated, which is also a 501c3. So if you're feeling generous, your support and generosity is great, and it's tax deductible. So I wanted to share this important story with you guys. This is a story that really, really bothered me. So I'm gonna bring up my screen. Let me just get this ready. My dogs might be barking, so I have a video to share for you. I'm gonna get this ready. I'm queuing that up for you guys. Let me bring you back over here and share this screen. Now, first I'm gonna play the video that goes with this. This is a story. Let me play the Dr. Fauci video. Hopefully I got rid of this commercial. I try to prep it right before the show. If not, I apologize about the stupid commercial. Dr. Fauci, here we go.
Into people at high.
Sorry about that. You didn't have volume
down
there.
On the public health measures as we're waiting for that help to come, which will be soon. We'll be getting vaccine doses into people at high priority at the end of December. We're not talking about shutting down the country. We're not talking about locking down. We're talking about intensifying the simple public health measures that we all talk about. Mask wearing, staying distance, avoiding congregate settings, doing things to the extent that we can outdoors versus indoors. If we do that, we'll be able to hold things off until the vaccine comes. Now, I've used that metaphor that the cavalry is on the way. If you're fighting a battle and the cavalry is on the way, you don't stop shooting. You keep going until the cavalry gets here, and then you might even want to continue fighting. And then finally, one other final thing about it. The very impressive efficacy, 94.5 and 95% of a vaccine, should motivate individual to realize that this is something you want to participate in. So we're going to be talking to you about it likely here in the future, about why it's important as these vaccine doses roll out, why we have to do two things: continue the public health measure and get vaccinated when the vaccine becomes available. Thank you.
Unbelievable. Okay, so let me just pull it. I just want to adjust this because I have this article. Interestingly, that video, you can't make this stuff up. So this video was part of the article that I want to share with you about the man who was arrested for not wearing a mask. Now, there's a GoFundMe for this man, but let me share his story with you guys first. So let's just take a read at this. I'm going to try and blow it up so you guys could like look along with that with me as well. So you see the title here, man accused of refusing to wear a mask at Canterbury grocery store. You can't see the full headline in that, but you guys will be able to see the article. So then they had the Dr. Fauci video in here. Like what are you talking about? So I got the Dr. Fauci video in here. Whoops, sorry, didn't mean to do that to you guys. And here it is. So Connecticut State Police arrested a man who is accused of refusing to wear a mask while at a grocery store in Canterbury earlier this week. Now, this was early December. This week, as cases of coronavirus continue to rise across the state, troopers received a 911 call. 911 for not wearing a mask. Somebody called 911 because this man wasn't wearing a mask. This is the world we live in. So, let's see. So the Better Value grocery store on North Canterbury Road on Sunday, it doesn't matter all that, but according to police, a 30-year-old Christopher Burns of Canterbury was found inside the store and was not wearing a mask. He referenced sovereign citizen ideology. You mean he referenced the United States Constitution? You mean he referenced what is the law of our land in the United States? Oh my God, how could he do such a thing? Look, it gets better. It doesn't get better for this poor man. There is a GoFundMe for him. You can find a link to that GoFundMe in the comments so you can go and support him. Listen to the rest of this story. So, let's see. Sorry, I didn't mean to blow that down for you. Okay. Burns refused requests by state police to wear the face mask he was holding in his hand, refused to give his name, and did not cooperate, investigators said. Burns was eventually escorted out of the building where he resisted arrest and fled before a state police canine located him in the woods nearby, authorities said. He was transported to Troop D where he was processed. State police said Burns is facing charges including criminal trespass, interfering with an officer, and breach of peace. He is due in court on January 6th. This man, he is due in court. If this is in Hartford, I might have to stop by over there. I'm going to see if I can reach out to this man. His name is Chris Burns, and I'm going to take you real quick. I'm going to take you over here. Let me take you over to Facebook because I just posted it and I didn't have it set up in my links here to share with you guys accidentally. So let me just go grab that. While I'm grabbing that, I'll put you on over here. So there's a GoFundMe case. Now this is a black man. Okay. Now Chris has not been in trouble. He's had some trouble with the law in the past. He has a criminal record, right? So here's a black man who isn't wearing a mask. Somebody calls 911 on him. He, tries to talk to the police. If something happens where there's not a communication breakdown, they're saying that he's, referring to his sovereign rights. Like, yeah, the United States Constitution, you mean that sovereign right, that all people have a right to live their life. So I'm going to let me share the screen back with you. This breaks my heart. I got to tell you, this is so upsetting to me. So this is the GoFundMe campaign, and this was I just stumbled across this today. So this man, Chris, who somebody put this together, April, she's organizing it. Let me see if I can blow this up so you guys can read this with me. And please share this around. This is Chris. Chris was arrested. Here he is. And he was arrested. I'm going to read a little bit about the GoFundMe because it's very upsetting. This to me is a problem, a major problem. So I'm not going to read the entire thing. She goes, on November 29th, Chris was shopping at a local store in Canterbury. He was not wearing a mask, and while I do understand many encourage mask wearing and social distancing, there is a line that needs to be drawn when it comes to protecting our rights to exist in this society. Chris was doing nothing wrong. He was just in a grocery store. He was shopping for goods. He didn't wear a mask. He didn't want to wear a mask, and he exercised his constitutional right to say no to a mask. Now, Chris also is a black man with a criminal record. So imagine what it's like for Chris to be in a situation like this, where now all of a sudden they call 911 and they have the cops. He's a black man with a criminal record, and they're threatening to arrest him, which they do. So listen to how she described this. Really is upsetting to me. So she puts here, Chris is a type of individual with much to share. His perspectives are unique, and he has a robust passion for propelling personal healing and accountability around being a good human being with morals that far surpass laws and regulations. When Chris's arrest occurred, he tried to take that opportunity to share and to challenge a system that has been suppressing many of us who have become enlightened and empowered to trust our immune system while using alternative measures to ensure our health and safety, which includes staying home when ill to protect others if we are contagious. Chris, unfortunately, faced with a hostile situation where authorities were unable to entertain healthy communication, and much of what was printed in the media was twisted in order to provide credible grounds to arrest and discredit Chris's character. This is where I would like to bring the truth to light, because we have come to a pivotal point where we need to protect each other. We need to stand up and let authorities, politicians, and society know that some actions are not tolerable or moral in the name of public health and safety. Bravo to this woman who put this GoFundMe campaign together for Chris. And guys, whatever you can give, I know some people are really struggling. $5-10 to help this young man out who has to go before a judge with a criminal record, and I hope they don't put this man in jail. This is awful. This is absolutely awful. So let's keep reading. So she says, the main reason I am asking for support to help Chris's legal fight is because he was not treated with respect or dignity as he always chooses to approach others. Rather, he experienced physical harm at the hands of authorities, and when he felt no other choice available, he ran for his safety and was hunted down by dogs like a criminal. Furthermore, this puts Chris, who is a role model to many, in a position of being a black man with a criminal record for something that has done no harm to anyone else. And she just goes on to talk about this isn't about whether you support masks or don't support masks, but to really look at it in the respect of helping Chris. And I would call this is racism, okay? This poor black man is being judged and ridiculed and put in a position. It's so many different things. Stigmatism for not wearing a mask. Racism for his black skin and being more of a threat. This is, this is the problem. And I want to say that this type of discrimination, he's being doubly discriminated against. And it really is an outrage to me. I can't even believe it. So this is the GoFundMe campaign, and you can find a link in my show notes to this story. I'm going to scroll back up so you guys can see a picture of this guy. Does this guy look like a criminal to you? Unfortunately, you can't see the total top of his head, but does he look like a criminal to you? Is somebody a threat that you need to call 911 because someone doesn't have a mask on, because they're not wearing a mask? What kind of society have we come to if this is what we do? We call 911 on people for not having a mask on. And this poor man now has all these legal troubles. They charged him with trespass and a bunch of other things, and now he has to go and defend himself in a court. So they're trying to raise money for his legal fees for this young man, Chris, who was arrested for not wearing a mask in Canterbury, Connecticut. I'm blown away by this. Absolutely blown away. It to me it reeks of the most awful thing I could ever imagine. So I want to share this with you now, moving along to that. I'm going to pull up, let me pull this up for you guys. So I'm going to pull this up, and we're going to start with this here, because we're going to stick with masks and then we're going to move over into what's going on here in the state of Connecticut with the religious exemption. So I'm going to share this screen with you guys again, and I'm going to click on this picture. So let me get this adjusted for you guys here so you can see it. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Live in real time, it definitely poses its challenges. And let me see if I can adjust that a little bit better for you. Okay, so this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. shared this earlier today. And I'm sorry it's moving like that. Let me see if I can bring this up. So what happened was, the state of, somebody did a FOIA on the state of New York, and they asked for evidence about the efficacy of masks. So you can see here that it says, this letter responds to your Freedom of Information request on October 12, 2020. Copies of all records which indicate the efficacy, pro-con of wearing a mask, face coverings by the general public is an effective method of stopping the spread of infectious diseases such as influenza or COVID. B, any safety risks associated with long-term wearing of masks or face covering by asymptomatic or healthy people. So this was their response. And let me pull this up. Sorry that it's a little bit out of whack there. Let's see if I can just get that to, so you guys could see that. There we go. Please be advised that after conducting a diligent search, no records responsive to your request have been located. Should you feel that you have been unlawfully denied access to the records, you may appeal and blah, 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 blah. Did you hear that, guys? So, he asked for two things: the proof of the mask efficacy and any safety risks, and to which the state of New York replied, there is none. They don't have any evidence of such a thing. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of Children's Health Defense, you can see him here. Let me blow him up and bring him down so you can see him. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he tweeted this earlier today. So here you go, right? New York. So there's that. Now we're going to go over to here. So interestingly, now this is coming out of the Connecticut Democrats, and I crossed out their names, but I was really disturbed by the comments that I was seeing from the Connecticut Democrats, who are about to, we in Connecticut have a supermajority right now where our governor, Ned Lamont, now has a supermajority, and it's about to get funky in Connecticut in a very big, bad way. So let me just read to you some of the comments coming out of people who are following the Democrats, probably, Democrats themselves. I don't want to put people in boxes and parties. I really want to start to break away from that. And I really want people to start to know and understand the duopoly that we're in. It's like, you have a monopoly. Well, we have a duopoly in the United States where we have Democrat or Republican. It's like Pepsi or Coke. And it's not helping us at all. But here's what people are saying. It's not painful to say, take care of yourself, your family, and your neighbors. Stay the hell home. Easy. Oh my God. Anyway, listen to this comment back out after this. With the Thanksgiving surge of COVID-19, why not shut down all the airports? People are going to travel, and when they are the ones to catch COVID-19, they'll regret it. So they're advocating control over your own life. Today isn't promised. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed. There's no guarantee that you get to have next Christmas. There's no guarantee that the people in your life are going to be there, that you might lose somebody, to anything for that matter, because life isn't guaranteed. All we have is this moment. All we have is now. And when we put life on hold for these government edicts, for what these politicians are saying and doing, these public health departments, when there's all this controversy around it, and loneliness and connect. So when you isolate yourself, you set yourself in a point of being lonely, and that's not healthy for anyone. And isolating yourself to protect people, life is a risk. So, yeah, let me take you back over here. I got some more photos I want to share with you. So, Now, as we march into this biologic, that's what I'm going to call it. That's what it would be classified under. It's not licensed yet, okay? It is issued an EUA. That's an emergency usage authorization, meaning when they do that, when the FDA does an EUA, they're saying that there are no other treatments for COVID-19. Therefore, we must take this risk and put this product on the market, a product that hasn't been studied long enough, that sidestepped a lot of the safety protocols, and trial 3 is open. You are part of trial 3. People don't like that I say that. I could probably get this video taken down for that. Well, I guess that's the world we live in. I'm not going to stop talking about it. So they are liability free. So I also want to say this out there to anyone who isn't aware of this, but the 1986 Vaccine Injury Act made all vaccinations on the childhood vaccination schedule are indemnified, meaning any of the shots that are on the schedule, the flu shot, chickenpox, hepatitis B, the whooping cough shot, what do they call that? I'm not even sure. The Tdap, because I think they're all like combined in this like megalopolis shot. They're all on the childhood vaccine schedule. And let me just further explain this, because I learned this last year when I was testifying up at the state capitol here in Connecticut against HB 5044. We're going to get more into that too. But what I discovered in some of my research is that some of the vaccines are liable, like Zostafax. Zostafax is the shingles vaccine for adults. So if you look up Zostafax, I'm sorry I didn't put that one in my notes, but you can easily go do a search on Zostafax. It's Zotvax, Zosta. It spells like what it sounds, Zostvax, Zostafax, which is the adult shingles shot. So what happened was, people started getting sick from the Zostavax vaccine. Now, my daughter was injured by the chickenpox vaccine, and her injuries were very similar to what adults are experiencing with the Zostavax vaccine. Now, because the varicella vaccine is on the childhood schedule, it is indemnified. I can't sue them. I did contact VAERS. I put in her case to VAERS, and it was her injury. It's so hard to prove these things. And I was running out of time and working with a lawyer who for a minute thought maybe we could have a case. It's really, really hard. This is not a regular court of law. This is vaccine court. It's its own thing. They don't follow the rules of tort law. They don't follow the regular rules. Like if you're injured by a pharmaceutical product that's not indemnified, you can sue and you get discovery. It's not like it's just really awful. It's not court. It's not a real court. But Zostafax has been taken off the market, or is soon to come off the market, is my understanding. It might still be out there. I did talk to a pharmacist and they said they had a new shingle shot. So just know that the Zostavax vaccine has caused a lot of injury. It's not on the Vaccine Injury Act, and it is therefore you can sue for that vaccine. Now, when we get to the COVID biologic, I said vaccine already. So when we get to the COVID vaccine, we're going to be flagged. They're going to probably shut my video down again. So when you get to the COVID vaccine, the PrEP Act has indemnified all things to do with COVID. That means treatment, biologics, and hospitals, nurses, doctors, everybody is indemnified, meaning they can't be sued for any injury or practices that prove to have been more harmful than good. This is the PrEP Act. Now, the interesting part of the PrEP Act that makes it different than VAERS is it's different. It's not on the same thing. So I don't even think you can sue the government, is my point and why I'm bringing that up. There's no stipulation in there about the government. Like with VAERS, the federal government now takes on a responsibility for what the corporation should be responsible for. So taxpayers are paying for the malicious stuff that the pharmaceutical companies do with their vaccine products that injure people. The taxpayers are left paying that while the pharmaceutical companies continue to rake in billions of dollars. The vaccine industry is a huge billion-dollar industry. I know people will say that it's not, but it is. So, and I want to share with you, so I'm moving on along. I'm not going to get into that one, but I wanted to share this guy with you. Now, he is Matthew Ritter. The thing about him and why you need to know him and why it's extremely important for you guys to know him, and a lot of people who follow me already know these things, is that he is our House Majority Leader. He's our House Speaker. I'm sorry, he was the Majority Leader. He's the House Speaker. He is a representative of the 1st District of Hartford. I don't know how the heck Hartford elected this guy, and I believe he ran unopposed. I got to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure he didn't have anybody running against him, which is a crying shame. That happened to quite a few different districts in Connecticut. What I want to do is encourage people to run for office and think about running for office in third parties, because we're really, right now in Connecticut, we are a protege for the nation of what they want to do. Okay, we are the belly of the beast in Connecticut. And I've gone into this with my friend Victoria Eloise about the corruption with the Lamonts, with Josh Gabal, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Connecticut, with Ezekiel Emanuel, who also sits on the Reopen Connecticut team, with what's the other one, Indra Nori, who was the CEO for Pepsi, Annie Lamont's connection to testing with her principal holdings in Sema4, which is like her company, and Thermo Scientific, which Josh Gabal is the vice president of, and they are all involved in the testing. Annie Huntress Lamont's Oak Healthcare FinTech is also involved with the tracking, the tracing, and all that stuff. But I'm talking about them with Matt Ritter's picture up, but I want to just get into how important and what a battle we have up ahead of us. Matthew Ritter is a very connected politician. His father, Thomas Ritter, was the House Speaker from like 1993 to 1998. His father is also a lawyer lobbyist at a firm in Hartford. And now his son, Matthew Ritter, is now the House Speaker, and he is a partner at Shipman and Goodwin. Now, Matthew Ritter has said to activists that by 2020, the religious exemption to vaccination would be gone. What the religious exemption for vaccination does is it is one area where people can say, I don't want to take this vaccine, right? And so what the legislators are trying to say, or people are taking advantage of this exemption, saying that they're abusing it. They're not really spiritual or religious. You can't say you don't want a vaccine because you don't want it. You're taking advantage of this exemption, which is nonsense. If you don't want to have a vaccine, you don't want to have a vaccine. It doesn't even matter, but it's your God-given right to say, I don't want that vaccine. So yeah, it is a religious exemption. And the thing is with religion, nowhere in the Constitution does it say religion is Christianity, religion is Judaism, religion is Buddhism, religion is organized with churches and priests and this and that. No, it doesn't say that. Okay, what our Constitution does is it says that we all of us, every human being, whatever your color, religion, race, creed, sexual orientation, it doesn't matter. You are entitled with your God-given rights to your freedoms, your sovereign body, which to me is the most fundamental right that we have as human beings, our sovereign body. So that's all nonsense. You can't argue what religion is and what it isn't. But they want to take away one of the only exemption to vaccinations. And this mainly was affecting school children, because we've never really seen employers requiring people to get vaccinated. Now we're starting to see that with the flu vaccine, and there are people in the state of Connecticut who are adults who have utilized the religious exemption. Okay, so what the state of Connecticut, if this is taken away from school children, which is how it's being worded, like this bill is about public and private school, it's going to take away that exemption for all people. Now, let me show you this slide here. Now, this is Shipman and Goodwin. I'm going to see if I can blow this up for you guys a little bit so you can read along with me. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Let me see here. Let me see. So this basically is talking about how employers can mandate you to get a vaccine, okay? So although the the EEOC guidance does not explicitly answer that question. This is about whether employers can vaccinate their employees. It is clear from the guidance that mandatory vaccination programs are permissible under federal law. When and how employers can mandate vaccines depend on a variety of factors, including the availability of the vaccine. Employers should be mindful that the current COVID-19 vaccine is approved for emergency use. Full approval is expected in 2021. So these guys are lawyers. They're talking like lawyers. They're thinking like lawyers. So because the vaccine isn't licensed yet, that's a big freaking deal, right? Because an EUA is not a license. It's sidestepping something, right? It's like dancing and saying like, okay, here it is, you can take it, but you can't really mandate that as an EUA. You can't really do that. I mean, I guess I could try. You could probably sue your employer if they mandate this vaccine to you as it is as an EUA. But I do believe that the FDA will, as fast as possible, issue a license for these vaccines for that purpose. Okay, so let's keep looking here. I just want to show you something that's really important because Matthew Ritter says, no, this isn't going to happen. No, we don't care. We are not going to do that. But yeah, his own company is going to do that. And he goes in. There are numerous legal issues that can arise through a mandatory vaccination program and precautions employers should take. For example, if an employer requires the vaccine, it must ensure that pre-screening questions are job-related and consistent with business necessity. If an employer has a voluntary vaccination program, any answers to pre-screening disability-related questions must be voluntary. The ADA requires employers to keep any employee's medical information obtained in the course of the vaccine program confidential. And employers must be mindful of other relevant laws, such as Generic Information Non-Discrimination Act. And whether to use a third party to administer the vaccine within the workplace or whether employers will be allowed to obtain it on their own and then provide proof of vaccination. There may be legal practical considerations to that approach. Now, here's where we go. Sorry about that, guys. I just lost my spot here. Let me get up over here. So here is the big question. What if an employer refuses to get vaccinated? I'm going to move my head over here so I can get out of the way here. Moving my head around. That's kind of crazy. But anyway, what if an employee refuses to get the vaccine? Listen to this. The EEOC guidance makes clear that employees must discuss whether reasonable accommodations are available to employees who cannot get the vaccine due to disability or due to religious beliefs. You see that? Matthew Ritter tries to say that he's not going to mandate this COVID vaccine. He's going over, this is his company. This is Shipman and Goodman talking about how they're going to mandate this vaccine to people at their job. Adults, that's you, that's us, that's to work. So for you to go to work, your employer could mandate this vaccine, but you still right now at this point have the ability to say no because there's a religious exemption. Employees must also determine if a disabled individual who cannot be vaccinated would be a direct threat to the workplace by assessing, one, the duration of risk, the nature, the severity, the likely and the potential harm it will cause. And that unfortunately cuts it off. But you can find this at Shipman and Goodman. And I did post this yesterday with the screenshots that you can look at it. So that religious exemption that Matthew Ritter says is really like no big deal. Nobody's going to really go after it. That's a bold-faced, that is BS. That is total BS. Now I want to take you over to here for a second. I'm going to take you back over onto here. I want to share this with you to really just lay in how important and profound and bizarre this is. So here, I'm going to share this with you. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about this. So all over the news is if you want to travel next year, you may need a vaccine passport. A vaccine passport. Okay, so this is out of WFSB. Let's take a little gander at it. Actually, it's coming from CNN. Do you notice how these news publications do this. Even the Connecticut News Junkie does it. They just keep reusing the same story. Like, all my life, growing up, loving to read, like, newspapers back in the day when newspapers were good, and I always wanted to be a journalist, wanted to pursue this and whatnot, and I did, but I've always been outside the box. Anyway, so just noticing that all these articles that, like, regurgitated, like, there's so many good journalists out there that you can follow that write and explore and ask questions and really provide good journalism. CNN, isn't it? So let's take a look at this. And then WFSB is sharing the same thing. And then it's shared again on WTNH. And then it's shared again at the Connecticut News Junkie. And it's shared, they all just reshare. Yeah, there are some writers, they do some of their own original stories. But a lot of these stories are just regurgitated off of probably the AP. But here's what CNN writes. Now that the coronavirus vaccines are starting to roll out in the US and abroad, many people may be dreaming of the day when they can travel, shop, and go to the movies again. Stop there for a second. Does that sound like journalism to you? Or does that sound like a public relations campaign? But in order to do those activities, you may eventually need something in addition to the vaccine, a vaccine passport application. Okay, look, listen to this. So several companies and technology groups have begun developing smartphone apps or systems for individuals and to upload details of their COVID-19 tests and vaccinations, creating digital credentials that could be shown in order to enter concert venues, stadiums, movie theaters, offices, and even countries. Yeah, propaganda. Definitely, Jessica, I agree with you. Listen to this. So the Common Trust Network, I'm going to have to go dig into that. The Common Trust Network, an initiative by Geneva-based nonprofit, the Commons Project, and the World Economic Forum. Oh my God, guys, the World Economic Forum. I'm reading The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab. It's taken me a while because I read a few pages of that book and I start freaking out. I get so mad. World Economic Forum. Unbelievable. So, has partnered with several airlines, including Cathay Pacific, JetBlue, Lufthansa, Swiss Airlines, United Airlines, Virgin Atlantic, as well as hundreds of healthcare systems across the United States and the government of Aruba. Yeah, Hippolytus. Good point, right? So, here we go. So the Common Pass app created by the group allows users to upload medical data such as COVID-19 test results or eventually a proof of vaccination by a hospital or medical professional, generating health certificates or a pass in the form of a QR code. And that can be shown to authorities without revealing sensitive information for travel. The app lists health pass requirements at the points of departure, arrival based on your itinerary. You can be tested every time you cross a border. You cannot be vaccinated every time you cross a border. Thomas Crampton, Chief Marketing and Communications Officer for the Commons Project, told CNN Business. He stressed the need for a simple and easy transferable set of credentials or a digital, listen to this, a digital yellow card. What? A digital yellow card. Wait, what? Referring to the paper document, generally issued as proof of vaccination. Oh, so you're going to carry a little yellow card. Where in history did people have to put a yellow sign on, a yellow star, and wear it? They even have I got the COVID vaccine button that they're trying to get out there. I know this video is going to get flagged. I'm going to totally be censored. Remember, guys, you can connect with me at jcherrypresents.com. I am building an email. I'm going to be building my own server where I can put my videos, and I'll be able to say, if you get on my email list, I can send you out when I'm going to go live, and I'll be able to do that. But it's kind of, each step is along the way. I'm going to fight like hell to retain my rights to be able to stay in this community forum that these social tech giants have a monopoly on. So I'm going to skip over. You get the gist of this. You can read the rest of this article in my notes. Yeah. So you can't make this up, right? So let's just go over to here, to my favorite place. You know this place, right? Let me just make sure that I got it so you guys can read. I'm going to mess around with this over here. So I want to read you something that's really, really very, very important. Now, this is the CDC website, and I put the link to this in there as well. But I wanted to read this to you guys because I think that it's really important that you hear this and you see this and you share this information with other people, and you can use this information when you're discussing this yourself. Let me see if I can bring it up. Here we go. Nationally, surveillance indicators tracking levels of SARS-CoV-2 circulation associated in illnesses declined or remained stable during the week ending December 19th, 2020. The percentage of deaths due to pneumonia, influenza, and COVID-19, pick, has been increasing since early October. Both COVID-19 associated hospitalizations and pick mortality for the most recent weeks are expected to increase. Now, I'm sharing this with you because I want you to pay attention to this. Pick. Pneumonia, influenza, and COVID. Now you'll notice the flu cases have gone down. And actually somebody sent me something really interesting yesterday, and there's a lot of discussion on this, and I follow John Rappaport. He's written extensively on the fact that the SARS-CoV-2 has never been isolated. And somebody else sent me, and I love when you guys send me stuff. Bear with me. Messenger is really difficult. I want to have people just email me directly. Screw Facebook. They read all your messages anyway. Nothing's private. But I really appreciate when people are sharing articles and things with me. Some great stuff has come through. And it's important that we open those lines of communication. So thank you for the folks that do send me stuff. I will get back and respond to you guys. I feel really bad because it's very hard to track those emails and put them, and organize them and stuff like that. But anyway, somebody sent me a very interesting article about that, talking about how you should get tested for the flu if you're test positive for COVID-19, or ask them to test you for the flu, because this article was specifically saying that really this is the flu. Now I know people are going to start to freak out. This is probably going to definitely get me flagged, but it's interesting that they've combined pneumonia, influenza, and COVID together. Now there's also a paper out of, this is an older paper. It's out of, the Institute of Health, I believe. I'm going off the top of my head here. I have a link to that paper. I haven't fully delved into it. I've just kind of scanned the surface of it. But basically the gist of this paper is they did some research, and they connected the pneumonia in the 1918 flu pandemic. They connected that to bacterial pneumonia from mask wearing. So I just find that interesting because we do know that masks can, in fact, capture all that bacteria, and then you're rebreathing in the air you exhale. And part of our immune system is we breathe in, we breathe out, and the air we breathe out is it's waste. But it always has been. It's not like it's contagious unless you're sick. If you're sick and you're coughing and sneezing, I've always said this: stay home before COVID. You don't need to go out. And my kids, stay home. No, you're not going to school sneezing and coughing all over people. That's not even fair. You need to stay home and rest. Healthy people in a casual setting like a grocery store are not spreading diseases. There's even a study out of Florida that studied millions of people that said asymptomatic spread is non-existent. It's just nuts. And one thing else I'd like to say, if masks work so great, why haven't we been wearing masks forever? Since 1918, right? If they worked in the 1918, well, how come nobody was wearing masks during H1N1? How come nobody was wearing masks during the swine flu? How come nobody's wearing masks for measles? How all of a sudden, masks are this wonderful thing that protect people. Anyway, so they're lumping in pneumonia, influenza, and COVID and calling it PIC. Tricky. Isn't that interesting right there? So, let me see here. I want to bring you, and one other thing here. Now, what, I'm sorry, I took you back to the same place. Or no, am I in the, we're still on the CDC. And no, I took you back to the same place. I wanted to bring you over here. Oh, no, maybe I didn't do that. Okay, let's see here. So, maybe I just posted the same link. I didn't mean to do that. So the CDC gets into talking about the vaccine. And I had a link to that, and unfortunately I didn't put it up there. And that's okay. I'll take you back to my photographs, and we'll talk about the Moderna shot. So I'm going to take you back over here, guys. We're going to go through some of these screenshots. So one of the things, I'm going to be live with the Connecticut Freedom Alliance on Monday, and we're going to be talking about the vaccine being heavily promoted and trying to get the Black community, the Black and Brown community, specifically the Black community, to take this vaccine. There's a lot of what they call vaccine hesitancy in the Black community for very good reason. And we have a panel of leaders in the community that are going to be talking about this. And I will be a host with Connecticut Freedom Alliance discussing this. And we've done this show before, if you guys haven't seen it. But I found this really interesting. Yale researchers are looking for healthy African American men and women between the ages of 18 to 55 to participate in a brain imaging study. This study examines genetic changes important in pain and opiate addiction. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's my opinion. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But I just found that really interesting that was coming out. And it doesn't have anything to do with COVID. But the opioid crisis, which is off the charts, and I have personal experience with the opioid crisis and fentanyl, which killed my son. So I will be diving into more of that fentanyl, the pharmaceutical companies that are dumping the fentanyl onto the street, and the fact that the COVID has increased the overdose rate in Connecticut is off the charts. We happen to be one of the worst states, and my son died in October from a fentanyl overdose. And it's absolutely devastating. And here it is that we live in this society where they're squashing us down and they're eliminating our ability to have the services and the human connection that we so desperately need, especially people struggling with addiction and opioid addiction to these horrible drugs that the pharmaceutical companies put on the streets in the first place. And now we have a crisis. But you don't hear the media talking about that. I will be talking more about that. But I wanted to get into this here because this is really disturbing. So the WHO has quietly changed the name, what herd immunity is, saying that herd immunity can only be achieved through vaccination. So in June, it acknowledged that herd immunity is from vaccination or natural infection. I personally think that herd immunity is really from natural infection, but okay, fine. Vaccines, all right, fine. You want to throw that in there, but you recognize that natural infection is actually the best immunity because you're going to get lifelong immunity from natural infection, okay? That any virologist will tell you that, but now all of a sudden everything has changed because novel COVID. So they changed it. So they said when a population is immune either through vaccination or immunity developed through previous infection, right? Then in November 13th, it says, is a concept used for vaccination. That's a freaking lie. It is not. Herd immunity has been around way longer than vaccines have. The whole concept of it. I mean, this is nuts. Then it goes on to say in which a population can be protected from a certain virus if a threshold of vaccination is reached. Now, Fauci, flip-flop Fauci is saying that, first he said it was like 70% need to be vaccinated, then it needs 80%, now it's like 95% vaccinated. Really, how much flip-flopping can this guy do? Let's take you over here. Now I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, and I apologize about that, but they're all connected. The masking, the novel COVID virus. But I want you to pay attention to the fact that this here says for medical use. Okay, for non-medical use. What? And I also want to point this out. this is really important. So the FDA does not regulate masks, meaning there is no like licensure, there's no like protocol. Okay, so if you're gonna have these masks, wouldn't you think there would be like a protocol so that you know you're gonna get the right masks to actually stop viruses, like what they're using in hospitals. So what they're using in hospitals, N95, surgical masks, even those don't stop viruses. And the thing about them is that they stop fluids. So in a hospital setting, it makes sense, right? You're in a hospital, you're surrounded by sick people. You know, that makes more sense to me. A surgeon makes sense to me. But the average person, this was at the Ocean State job lot. Every time I go into a store, I photograph the boxes of masks, and they've changed the wording of it. A lot of them have changed the wording of it. Now they put non-medical use. They used to say on that, and I have pictures of those from like the beginning of this stuff. I got early boxes of masks, and I was able to photograph them before they started changing the language. Or now it'll say in there, will protect you from droplets. And they say not for medical use. You know, you just turn it over and you read it, but they're trying to be tricky because people are actually starting to pay attention and ask questions and read product labels. You should read product labels. It's important to read product labels because non-medical use, then what is it? A fashion statement? They even call them fashion masks. Check this one out. Sorry about that, guys. It was on the wrong thing to flip it. This one is the most honest one. This one is great. This product is a non-medical device, is not FDA approved, and is not intended for medical use. So, masks are not FDA approved, not any of them, not one. There's no criteria for masks. In fact, it's really interesting. OSHA has a whole bunch of stuff about masks and how to wear them because masks will stop, you know, contaminants like dust and debris and, you know, kind of big things when you're working or like serious bodily fluids for a surgeon. I'm like, would you want blood in your face, or, you know, you're working on doing open heart surgery, you don't want to be drooling into the surgical incision. You know, so that makes sense, right? And those products, these doctors and nurses are specifically fitted to their masks. In fact, Josiah, who is a nurse, and I'm going to have him back on, I did a video of him and it went viral. And he did an interview on Alex Jones InfoWars. Don't get your flipped out about that. Alex Jones asked him for an interview. He went, and then you know what happened? Because he was on that show, my video got taken off of Vimeo. It was the only video that I had censored on Vimeo. They took the video down. It had like 5,000 views. I had posted it up on Vimeo. I had taken an edited version offline. And Facebook, it was going crazy. It was going everywhere. And then on Vimeo, they censored it because he went on that show to talk about masks. And he talked about and he came on live with me, and then he couldn't be on live with me because I needed Skype at the time, and they wouldn't let him Skype. They wiped out his Skype account because he was a nurse. And he was talking out about masks, and he was on the banned video show. So I'm not going to say too much more about that. It's really going to flag my video. Yeah, so masks have to be specially fitted. So Josiah told me that they put something in the room so that if you can smell the smell, you're not properly fitted for it. So like they have a smell, and if you can smell that, the mask isn't working. So really interesting stuff about that. It's not just a mask. Now this is from the Pfizer package insert. I'm going to just pull this down for you guys so you can read it. This is from the Pfizer package insert, which I have gone through extensively, read the whole 56 pages of the Pfizer package insert. I'm working on the Moderna one. I haven't fully read it. It's not the most fun reading on the planet. But this one I pulled out of the Pfizer. And you can see here, I'm just going to read where I highlighted. Well, this is vaccines' effectiveness against long-term effects of COVID-19. COVID-19 disease may have long-term effects on certain organs, and at present it is not possible to assess whether the vaccine will have an impact on specific long-term sequelae of COVID-19 disease in individuals who are infected despite vaccination. demonstrated high efficacy against symptomatic COVID-19 should translate to overall prevention of COVID-19 related sequelae in vaccinated population, though it is possible that asymptomatic infections may not be prevented as effectively as symptomatic infections and may be associated with sequelae that are either late onset or undetected at the time of infection. So additional evaluations needed to assess the effect of the vaccine in preventing long-term effects of COVID-19, including data from clinical trials and from the vaccine use post-authorization. So again, it's even saying in their own literature that they don't really know, and you can still wear that mask. You remember Fauci's on TV still going around telling everybody that you're going to be wearing that mask still? Yeah. So that was, you can find that there. And so duration of protection. This was another important one. You can find these. There's the page numbers. Did I put these links in there? You just can look up the FDA Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. I may not have put this in my show notes. Unfortunately, I may have slipped on that one because I was working with a bunch of screenshots. But I can, if you want to PM me, I'll send it to you, and you can also look it up yourself. I use DuckDuckGo. That's a better search engine. So this is the duration of protection. As the interim and final analysis have a limited length of follow-up, it is not possible to assess sustained efficacy over a period longer than 2 months. 2 months. Although the proportion of participants at high risk for severe COVID-19 is adequate for the overall evaluation of safety and available follow-up period in the subset of certain groups, such as immunocompromised individuals, for example, those with HIV/AIDS, is too small to evaluate efficacy outcomes. So they only can say that the vaccine is, it's not going to last longer than 2 months because they don't know. It's experimental. And for all those immunocompromised people, we don't know if this is really going to help them. For really just insane. So this is really going to get me in trouble, guys. They're going to ban me. I know I'm going to get kicked off of Facebook eventually at some point for this stuff. I'm like asking for it. I'm not. We need to talk about this information. There's just no reason why I can't discuss this information. That is just nuts that people like me are being censored. And they took Dr. Sherry Tenpenny off of Facebook. I'm blown away. They took the Highwire off of Facebook. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Highwire, you can check out the Highwire online. They have their own website and they stream every Thursday. They're on a 2-week break for Christmas, New Year's. But if you haven't found Del Bigtree and the Highwire, I absolutely recommend it. And they have a great journalist there, Jeffrey Jackson. You can read all of Jeffrey Jackson's articles. Really excellent reporting, fact-based information, real journalism. Yes, I have my stuff on YouTube right now. Thanks for that question. I appreciate that, Jessica. I have videos. All my videos are on YouTube. Well, some of them. They've been taking my videos down off of YouTube. So most of my videos right now are on YouTube, but I do plan on having all my videos on my own server very soon. By hopefully the end of January, I will have figured that out. I'm right now researching where I can put all these videos. Okay, so this is also in the Pfizer BioNTech. So BioNTech, just want to say this real quick. BioNTech took this stuff called M-neon green, and it's in the Pfizer vaccine, but because it's a proprietary stuff, they don't have to list it in any of their FDA stuff because they don't have to because they have protections because of patents. But anyway, I found out that the Pfizer vaccine has this stuff called M-neon green in it, and there's currently a lawsuit against BioNTech for taking this patent from, it's a French company that created this stuff called M-neon green. You can look that up. M, lowercase m, uppercase neon green. Okay, so it's a chemical that it's a thing that they made. It's green. It's from bugs. No, I'm sorry. The M-neon green is from sea creatures that glow. And in the Moderna vaccine, they have luciferase, which is from bugs. Same thing. It's a green goo. They don't list it officially in their package insert or their stuff to the FDA because they get proprietary protection. Yes, the pharmaceutical company gets proprietary protection on their patents, and you don't get to know what are the real nitty-gritty details. They don't have to tell you because of patent laws and proprietary protections. But they want to mandate this shot. Your employer may want you to take this shot to work. And I'm really worried about all of the essential workers and the people out there, the grocery store clerks. They want to get the grocery store clerks to take this. They want to get everybody, all the school teachers. And then when I end this show, I'm going to end it with one last thing. And I'm almost done because I'm going over and I don't like to go that long. But let me just read this to you. Reports of I can never say these words. Lymphadenopathy. It's like a swollen, I looked it up online, it's swollen lymph nodes, swollen lymph glands, your lymph nodes. We have a whole, system, the lymphatic system, and so it can really swell those up. But here's the thing that it really, really stuck out to me was the Bell's palsy was reported by 4 vaccine participants and none in the placebo group. None. I don't know how that's not a signal. I had my video taken down because I shared a video of a nurse who said she got that shot and developed Bell's palsy, and she was crying. That was me doing that, not anything else. I'm sorry, guys. I know it can be freaky, like, oh my God, they're censoring you. No, that was something that happened on my end. But this nurse did a video. It was a black woman, a nurse, and she's crying, and she's masked at first, and she takes the mask off, and my video was taken down off of YouTube for that, and I was suspended on Twitter for sharing that video. I shared it alone, and then I also did a show where I shared it in my show. I'm gonna not share that right now, but I do want to post that somewhere where people can take a look at it. I'm gonna be looking to see if I can connect with that nurse and see if I could get an interview with her, because it was a really seriously sad video and very powerful. Why would it be fake? That's my number one question. If they're admitting this is happening, what benefit would this woman have to do that, to lie about this? And then why are they censoring it? This is obviously a problem. This is obviously in their own paperwork. The Bell's palsy is there. And honestly, that many people in the trials to have gotten Bell's palsy is a signal. From my understanding, no, I'm not a scientist or a doctor. I'm a journalist. I'm a researcher. I read things. No, I'm not a scientist, but come on now. Does it take a scientist to say, well, my understanding of what a signal is if, a group of people start to have a reaction in the vaccine group, not the placebo group. And although in Moderna, they did have 1 case of Bell's palsy, or maybe 2 in their placebo group. Like I said, I haven't fully read the Moderna package insert or FDA document. I've only just scanned that. I have read the Pfizer pretty extensively. So I think that might be the end of my Pfizer. Okay, this one last one, and I'm going to share with you a letter from the superintendent of the Hebron Public School System. I want to share this letter with you guys. You can't believe this stuff. So this is the adverse event in the phase. I believe this one is phase 1, and it goes dose 1, dose 2. And these were really alarming to me. So dose 1 in the vaccine group, 47% fatigue. Look at all this in a headache. 41.9% with headaches. And then look at when they get the second dose, jumps up 10% to 51% with headaches. Chills, 14% in the first shot, 35% in the second shot. And there was another one over here that was pretty high. Diarrhea, I mean, that's pretty high. I guess it goes down just 1% in the placebo group too, but you guys can read through this entire document yourselves. You can take a look at it. I really recommend that you do that. because it's important to be educated about what it is you're putting in your body. You have a right to know what you're putting in your body. We have a right to discuss the things that these pharmaceutical companies and these governments are trying to mandate upon us, our families, our children. Just can you imagine now that they make you go into the store with a mask on? What's it going to be like when they're telling you you got your vaccine yellow card? Because that's what I just read that article to you at a CNN that WFSB and all the other stations are just regurgitating the same article about the vaccine passport, and they're calling it a yellow card. A yellow card. So I want to take you back to my Facebook page real quickly, and then I'm going to wrap up this show. This is so disturbing. Let me just clear this up for you guys here. So I want to share with you this was really powerful. This was, okay, let me just get to it because it was a couple days ago that I shared this. This letter that was posted, that was sent to a public school. This is by the Hebron Public School. Now where the heck did it go? Watch, they're taking my post down. Hopefully not. I had the letter. I had posted it to a discussion. And basically, and keeps happening to me every time I want to share this letter from the Hebron school system. And so the superintendent of the Hebron Public School system sent out this letter to, I don't know, this is not there. Unbelievable. Where the heck did it go? I can't believe this. I know I had it there. No, it's not there. Oh my gosh. So I had posted it the other day. At least I thought I did, and now it's not on my wall. That's so frustrating. Anyway, I have it in my phone, so I'll read it to you. I can't share it with you as I read along. I'll just read to you just a little bit of this. This is insane. You just can't make this up. So this is what the Hebron Public School, and I don't know why it's not on my wall anymore. It's very possible that it's just buried for some other odd reason, because they can do that. So this is from the Hebron Public School System. I hope this letter is finding you well and looking forward to our holiday break. When we first closed down in March, I think most of us expected a sprint as we responded to all the needs that the pandemic presented. We all now understand this is not a sprint. Rather, we have been running a marathon. Our upcoming breaks allows us to slow down and rest as we begin the next leg of our race. We begin very early planning for the vaccination of our team. We will learn more regarding the impact of the vaccination process on our staffing as vaccinations for healthcare workers continues. The completion of vaccination for our team will hopefully lead to more stability in staffing for our schools. I am very optimistic for a consistent mode of operations and learning environment for our students after the vaccinations are complete. The start of vaccinations gives us the hope that we are approaching the final leg of our race. He goes on to say, please use, I'm sorry, let me see. I don't want to read you the whole thing. Families must keep our health office updated regarding any symptoms, COVID-19 positive, close contacts, or out-of-state travel prior to sending a child to school. What each individual does outside of school will have a big impact on our ability to continue in-person learning for all. To date, we have not received updated quarantine guidance documents from the Connecticut Department of Education. We will look to make any relevant changes to our quarantine practices and update our entry plan after returning from the break. I will send this to you after our team finalizes any changes. You may find information regarding CDC holiday guidelines, and he gives a link. We need to work together, he concludes, to keep our schools safe. Well, I think that safety is a good thing, but those who sacrifice freedom and liberty for safety will get neither. And I think that Superintendent Hebron is overstretching and overreaching his place as a superintendent. But that'll wrap it up for now, guys. I apologize that I couldn't get that letter up on the Facebook and show that to you. I might just post that again because I have a copy of it. And it blew me away. When the teacher sent that to me, I was like, wow. So, you know, Matthew Ritter is going to be enforcing these vaccines. Let me just real quick before I leave, for anybody that just popped in, I'm going to take you back real quickly to this little photograph just to let it sink in with you and think about the reality of what they want to do. And these lawyers are already talking about how they are going to be able to vaccinate employees, children, which Matthew Ritter is working on. They want to eliminate the religious exemption to vaccination, and they want to mandate this vaccine. And here we go. Let me just pull this up for you guys, and then I'm going to sign out of here because I went longer than I wanted to. There we go. This is it. There it is, guys, in black and white for you to see. This is no joke. This is no conspiracy theory. This is very real. This affects everybody. This affects adults. This affects children. This is affecting us all. And the only way that this is going to change is if we get up and do something about it. And there's a multifaceted plan of action that we can take, that we can utilize. And the first steps, be at the Capitol on January the 6th. At 9 a.m. I will be there even earlier than that. Get there early to park. Dress warm. Bring your children. Do not be afraid to be at the Capitol. Do not be afraid to show up at the Capitol. We need you at the Capitol on January the 6th. I want you to bring everybody you can. I want you there. I want you there holding signs. I want you there. I want you to write all of your legislators. And if you do not know who your legislators are, I'm going one more thing I want to show you before I go because it's so important. If you do not know who your legislators are, I want to show you this website. It's cga.ct. This is your greatest resource, okay? Here you go. And guess what you can do? You go onto this website. Don't do it on your mobile. Do it on your computer if you can. It's easier to navigate on your computer. There's all kinds of cool goodies in the CGA website. You could see all the committees right here. These are all the ones. And the one that you want to really pay attention to right now is public health. Public health. And I believe they might have combined the public health and safety and security. I'm not 100% sure about that. But anyway, so that is this is the Connecticut General Assembly. Now you can follow bills here. So when there is a bill that's dropped, you can follow that bill. You can sign up for email alerts. If you do not know who your senator is, you can find it here. Now, what I say that for is because a lot of people don't realize that their senators are more than just Blumenthal and Murphy, okay? You have local senators here in our state. They are driving the laws that affect our state. You can go in here and you can search up who your representatives are. You can search up and find out who your district is. You can find out everything. Everything that you want to know that's happening, their calendar, when bills are going to come up. Really get familiar with this website, because if you don't, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen with COVID-19 vaccines finally arriving. Yay! Employers must ask and answer difficult questions. It's up to us, folks. It comes down to that. It's up to us. Are you going to be ruled by the pharmaceutical companies and corrupted politicians like Matthew Ritter and Ned Lamont and his wife, Annie Lamont? I know she's not a politician, but she's heavily connected to the health and healthcare industry and is benefiting immensely from testing and will benefit from tracking and tracing and vaccines as well. So just to think on that. We the people. Just remember that. We the people. Because we are the ones that can change this around. On that note, see you guys later.